Hi and welcome everyone. Fairy Tug here. This is my epoch, and what I'm going to be talking about today is kind of why it's really hard being homeless. A lot of people will sit there and say, "Oh, why would I ever want to be homeless? Being homeless is hard." And yes, there is some hard parts about being homeless, but it's not all hard, and it's not all miserable. And it also depends upon what you like, what you don't like, and just what your tolerance levels are. Will tell you, how miserable you really are going to be. So, what is it that makes homelessness so miserable? What is it that makes it so hard? Well, probably on the top of the list is going to be inclement weather. Sun is nice, clear days are nice, but when it's raining, when it's below 40 degrees, when you've got high winds, when you've got, again, rain, you've got snow, you've got sleet, you've got, the inclement weather. That's really hard because when you live in an area, especially places like Cincinnati or even Portland. Okay, so Portland, Oregon, it snows there maybe once every 5 years, so you don't really need to get a lot of the you don't need to get a lot of snow gear. But when it happens, you're caught with your pants down because you weren't prepared for it, because it shows up about every 5 years or so. And when it hits random. Sometimes it hits in December, sometimes it hits in February, sometimes it hits in November. You never know that. And that's what makes it really hard, because all of a sudden you go from being able to deal with at least reasonable or comfortable temperatures to a point where you're like, oh my, this is just unbearable. And so what you'll end up doing to be able to deal with that is then you get to go into the library or into a pretty much a public building for the homeless. Most of them are going to hang out at a public library, especially in colder climates, because that's one of the few places that you can go that you don't have to pay to be there. You have access to a bathroom. You can sit inside for long periods of time. Even the Cincinnati Library here, they work with the homeless. They know who the homeless are. Instead of constantly running them out and creating a bunch of issues, sometimes they'll sit there and they'll doze off, and then they get woke up and they get pushed along the way. But when you're dealing with this inclement weather, especially when it's too cold or too hot, because I mean, being up north, you're not used to. I mean, today is going to be 86. Yesterday was 83. The day before that was 80, and we just got into May, and we're already experiencing July type temperatures for being up this high as far as the parallels go, close to the North Pole. Okay, as far north as we are, this is pretty hot um, for this type of climate. So most people here are trying to get into some sort of climate control condition because they're so used to it, and then you start sweating at about 72 degrees, and things like that. The other thing that makes homelessness suck is police. Okay. Now, it used to be really bad. Now it's not even remotely as bad. Like in some areas, it's still pretty bad. So, like you go to Gainesville, you still have to deal with the police, but the police don't come after you like they used to. See, it used to be if they could see that you had a backpack on, that you were homeless, they would automatically stop you, search you, look for reasons to take you to jail, and they would completely violate your person and your rights as a human being, especially being an American. And because you are homeless, you have no rights. Okay, because it becomes hearsay, and because the common misconception is that all homeless are drug addicts or have mental health issues, you can't trust them. And so, whatever the police officer says, well, you really have no recourse, no way to be able to look back or to be able to uh, push back against those that are abusing their authority, abusing their power. Or even if it goes all the way up into like the city council and the local legislature, even the state legislature. Okay, because you got to realize that one of the other things that makes homelessness suck is that not only are you dealing with the police who are militant towards you, or at least they used to be really militant towards you, they're not like that anymore, is you also have to deal with your own government being militant towards you. Because who do you think gave the police the direction to be militant to you? It's the politicians who write the laws. Why are they writing the laws? Because somebody showed up because they had a wild hair up their ass and decided, oh, you know what? I want to pass a law that says you cannot sleep in front of my front yard at any time of day. You cannot sit, you cannot stand, you cannot walk. And well, the politician, because he wants your vote and he thinks that other people will be in for it, he's going to have you write down what it is you want. He's going to have lawyers write it up. He's going to take it to committee and sponsor the bill, and then he's going to find a co-sponsor, and he's going to see if he can make it to the floor. And then if it makes it to the floor and then it gets passed, well, then all of a sudden now you've got a new law. So now you have a politician who's trying to appease his constituents, but his constituents are malicious towards the homeless for whatever reason, whether they had a bad experience or whether it is that they had, um, uh, just a wrong upbringing. Because hate is something that is taught. Hate is not something that you come with as a part of your your original OEM software. It's not going to be there. It's hate is something that we are taught. And so somebody was taught to hate the homeless because of whatever reason. And so now you have individuals that use the political system to be militant towards us, and then not only that, they use the police to be able to be militant towards us. Okay, and these are just the basic obstacles that you have to deal with, or that you used to have to deal with on a much major level, a much larger level. Nowadays, I will tell you that homelessness has gotten a lot better. And a lot of people will still sit there and go, oh, well, they're criminalizing homelessness. Yes, they are criminalizing homelessness. And right now we have something in the Supreme Court that will overturn all of the progress in which we made. But I don't really think it's going to get overturned after listening to what Judge Gorsuch said. Okay. But the thing is homelessness has gotten better. Why has it gotten better? Because of the Ninth Circuit Court decision. It was a major, major thing. To see, here's the thing. The reason why people can do what they do to the homeless is because up until about, well, technically 2019, but around 2011, which is when it started making it up through the appeals process for to go into the Supreme Court. Okay, so what this did is this put a stop to cities just going and rounding up the homeless. Okay, because right now, let's say that this law or that this judicial precedence gets overturned of the Ninth Circuit. What does that mean? What that means is that we go back to the days of old, where right now, if you go over to Kentucky, you could get thrown in jail for repeated homelessness or sleeping on public property. You could go to jail for up to 90 days, and then that's going to do a whole bunch of other stuff. I've got people that are telling me, oh yeah, you need to go to jail, they'll actually help you. No, no, going to jail is not meant to help you, nor is it designed to help you. It is designed uh, to think of it like trying to break a horse, and that horse does not want to do what you tell it to do. So what do? You create you create situations so that you can break that horse. And a lot of what the criminal justice system is it's designed to break those that are willing or want to kind of buck the system, because it's become so overbearing that you are criminalized just for being an American. Okay, just for being a U.S. citizen, you are considered an enemy of the state. Okay, and so again, homelessness has changed positively because right now the cops can't do anything if you're sleeping on a street corner. I have Sam. I can't get into a homeless shelter because they won't allow a dog. Well, under the Ninth Circuit Court, what that does is that allows me to be able to sleep outside, because there's no adequate shelters for me and Sam to go for, because I can't just leave Sam outside. Okay, and I'm not going to put her in a kennel either. So therefore, now if there are any laws or ordinances uh, that were put in to criminalize the act of me just getting a night's rest in a little alcove in a doorway, well, that is now considered unconstitutional and a violation of the Eighth Amendment, because it's cruel and unusual punishment, i.e., it is unreasonable expectations. If I can't get into a shelter, but yeah, you're going to penalize me and call it a crime because I can't get access to something that there isn't adequate access to. Okay, but this also affected the sit-stand laws. And being in LA, that was one of the big things. I got ticketed several times. I had constant interaction with the police. That was probably the one place that I've had the most frequent interaction with police, because you couldn't sit, you couldn't stand, you couldn't stop. I mean, the citizens could. I mean, but the thing is this was right at the time in which the Ninth Circuit Court decision was starting to be made. Because I mean, it started in 2011. I was there in LA in about 2012. Okay, so just from that time to now, a lot of that has changed. Somewhere like, if I were to go back to Hollywood, they wouldn't be enforcing the sit stand law. With the court case that came out of Boise or Ninth Circuit Court, that was an important piece of judicial precedence that was set, because it now gave us as homeless more rights as citizens to be citizens where we're at. And because they gave us that right within the within the decision that they handed down on the Ninth Circuit Court, that has changed a lot of things for homelessness. It is getting better, and it is forcing us as a society to be able to sit back and really look at this in a wholehearted way. But anyways, guys, you know how to help the channel. Share the video, like, subscribe, make sure to leave me a comment. Sorry about this add-on. What ended up happening was the port where I plug in my phone or plug in the mic, it just slowly comes out, and so therefore about 3/4 of the way through the video, I ended up losing sound. I hate this phone. I hate Apple, and I will probably never buy another Apple ever, 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 ever again, because their products are just crap, and they don't make them like they used to.